Today I'm going to teach you how to take this whole coconut and turn it into one of the best soups you've ever had in your life. Filipino food isn't renowned for being very healthy. We use a lot of sugar, sodium in the form of soy sauce, fish sauce, or salt, and lots of oil to make our dishes so good. And they are absolutely delicious. I get a lot of questions online on how you can turn Filipino dishes healthy, and 100% you can do that. But obviously you're sacrificing the flavor that you've come to know and love so well. I'm not saying it's not possible, it'll just be a very different dish. If you look hard enough though, you'll find certain dishes that are actually quite good for you. Something like adobo, for example, isn't unhealthy as long as you're making a chicken adobo and you're not using too much oil to fry the chicken and you're not using too much soy sauce to season everything, because at the end of the day, if you're just boiling something in vinegar, that is actually quite healthy. Another famous one would be tinola, a chicken soup made with chicken broth, some ginger, some garlic, and some unripe papaya. Nothing wrong with that. Really good, really healthy. But my personal favorite is called Binakol. It's one of those soups that unfortunately you don't see a lot in different restaurants in the Philippines, but it's so good and more people should eat it. We're basically using a whole coconut, and that will be really the anchor of the flavor of the soup, to which we're adding some chicken and some aromatics. It's really simple to put together, but trust me, it builds so much flavor and you'll find it absolutely delicious.
For this recipe, you'll need 600 grams of chicken thighs, bone in, skin on, please, 6 cloves of garlic, minced, 1 large white onion, 1 thumb size of ginger, 2 to 4 stalks of lemongrass, 2 large green chilies, 2 large young coconuts for meat and water, an additional liter of coconut water, freshly ground black pepper, and a handful of chili leaves or spinach. Okay, let's open this coconut. People think you need to be outdoors and have a massive heavy blade to open a coconut, but in fact you can do it quite undramatically and calmly on a chopping board with a thick bladed chef's knife. Don't use your thin Japanese knives for this. If you get your coconuts like this already, you don't need to peel the outer green layer, which is probably one of the toughest parts. Just trace a cut at the top. From that area, peel off as much of this white stuff as you can until you're basically scraping the hard nut and exposing it. That sounds really bad. To crack it, just start hitting the nuts, again, terrible, at its base multiple times, spinning it around until it cracks. When you have an opening, you can pry it open with your knife. Now just take all the water out. For the meat, take your knife, place it on one side of the coconut, jam it in there, flip the coconut around so you have a bit more leverage and power, and then just hit it hard until your knife comes through. You can do this a few times or just pull it open with brute strength. Now you can scrape the meat out either in neat strips or chunks. Just make sure you clean any residual shell that might have clung onto it. Now let's just slice our white onion, mince your garlic, make slits on your green chilies, cut the tough part from the lemongrass and just pound it lightly. We're just going to be using the white part here. Thinly slice your ginger. Start off by heating some peanut oil in a large pot. Sear your chicken on both sides until golden brown. Take it out, keep the fat in, fry off your ginger until it gets golden, then add your garlic, onions, and fry for 5 minutes before mixing in the chicken and topping it all off with your coconut water. Place in your lemongrass, bring to a simmer, cover and cook on low for about 45 minutes. 30 minutes in, add in your coconut meat and green chilies. Five minutes before finishing, add your leaves and some fish sauce. For a little kick, I like making a quick sauce, some calamansi, fish sauce, and red chilies just mashed together. Pour yourself a bowl and top it off with some crunchy shallots and chili oil.
Doesn't this look so delicious and just fresh and just kind of like one of those dishes when you see it, it just already makes you feel good. Now, because the broth is done using all coconut water, actually, there's no additional water in there. There's no actual chicken broth in there as well. The broth feels creamy and sweet, yet still feels really light, which I think is really great. So it's not one of those soups that you'll feel gross after because it's so oily. And that coconut, even though we just used the water and then the meat, because we boiled those two together, you do get like a slight mouthfeel of some sort of creaminess, but it's not as heavy as if we were to add coconut cream like a Thai tom kha gai, for example. And just that little dipping sauce of patis, chilies, and calamansi really just brightens up that soup. So if, like me, you love Filipino soups, but you're looking for something different, I think the Binakol will scratch that itch for you.